That in itself, Peter, is distressing to the very small number of staff of the president here at Offutt.
So the procedures are in place and they do what they do, right?
Well, you know, in 27 years of covering presidents and crises, we have never played the kind of hunted game that was played today, where we would take off in the plane and not know where we were going to land, and then once we landed in Louisiana, where we were literally told not to use cell phones so our location couldn't be pinpointed, to take off again and head to the center. It does feel like a cat and mouse game. Ari Fleischer, when I asked him if the president feels in jeopardy or hunted, he said the president understands that this is kind of the precaution that is necessary at a time like this, and that he's anxious to get back to Washington.
And for example, when you phoned us just a moment ago, thank goodness you did you have to ask permission to do it?
No, because it is hard to hide a great big airplane like Air Force One, and when we were coming in, I could tell we were over a flat area, a fairly urban area, and I guessed it was Nebraska, knowing that we hadn't been that far out of Louisiana. And indeed, as we came down over the field, I saw a TV satellite truck out on the highway, and sure enough, on our screens inside the plane, we watched ourselves land. The local media was already here, figuring this is where the President of the United States and the Commander-in-Chief would land.
Because it's part of the old Strategic Air Defense Command.
Exactly right. It has the facilities, the secure facilities here, where the president can still be, as what Ari tells me, is seamlessly in touch with the command structure in Washington.
And which we remind ourselves, and I'm going to involve George Stephanopoulos in this conversation, but just think about how the world has changed, and yet in some respects hasn't. The president's gone to Nebraska to a facility which was designed during the Cold War, where the president might retreat or go in the case of a thermonuclear exchange or an atomic thermonuclear exchange between the United States and the Soviet Union. That's really something to think about.
It's an amazing comment on where we are in the 21st century. You know, we have been checked our bags over and over again today. We take that kind of security routinely on Air Force One, but it's been double that today. And just the thought of Americans who are stranded in airports all across the country trying to get home today or tomorrow, the kind of security they will then face. Certainly the White House sees the ramifications and the impact of this extending through American life as far as you can see.
Annie, thank you very much. I hope you'll stay in fact, I know you'll stay in touch.
There are 5 of us who have been allowed to stay with the president, but we are not allowed in the underground bunker with him.
Say that again?
There are only 5 of us reporters who have been allowed to stay with him. Everyone else was left in Louisiana. There are 4 staff members, five of us from the press, and a very small Secret Service contingent. It was almost an empty Air Force One that brought us here. We don't know how we'll be here or when the president will find it safe to go back to Washington.
But you're not in the bunker?
No, they would not let us in the bunker. We are above ground, looking at the battle between him and us.
Okay, Annie, thanks very much. Ann Compton.